Welcome back to another exciting video, and what we're talking about today is we are starting our theory masterclass. So we are starting our masterclass, our theory masterclass. I've been wanting to do this for such a long time, and we're finally to the point where we're going to get started. And so, as you can see here, I made this board. Yes, this is the second iteration. The first one looked like a third grader did it. I finally got it up to fifth grade level, so do not berate me too much about my board. This does not need to be on here. Going over lesson review, just like you do when you teach. So as you can see here, we have a piano. We're starting at C. We have 1, 2, 3 full octaves. Boom, boom, on a piano. As you can see here, this is my guitar. String 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fret 1 is down here. 3, 5, 7, denoted by the little dots on the fretboard. So here we go. What we're going to talk about in this first class, we're simply going to talk about the major and the minor scale. I'm not going to throw 9 million topics into one class because A, it is too damn hard to follow, and B, who wants to sit and watch 42-hour video of theory? Because I could literally spread this out over 42 hours. Theory is very deep, and there's so much to learn in theory. The reason you need to learn theory, if you are a new musician or you've been playing for a while, but you do not know theory, that inevitable wall that all musicians hit. If you don't know theory, that wall comes a hell of a lot sooner. A hell of a lot sooner. Theory tells you why you're playing what you're playing. You may know how to play a G chord, but do you know why that is a G chord? Do you know why you play it the way that you play it? That's where theory comes in. Theory tells you why you're doing what you're doing. Let's get started on that note. We're going to start with the major scale, and here we go. This is exciting shit, man. I love theory. I love talking about theory, and very excited to get this thing rolling. So here we go. As you can see, we have our magnets, and I got a bunch of them. And actually, I got about 100 of these magnets, and I've pulled these out just for this reason in my whiteboard. So we're going to start with the C major scale. If you go to a piano, you find the two black keys together, you move to the left, that is a C. If we complete out the C major scale, all you do on a piano is play all the white notes from C to C. That is a major scale. The beauty of C major is C major lays out perfectly for your understanding of the actual major scale. What do I mean by that? The major scale, you have degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 8 is the octave, C and C. But in these little degrees in here, we have whole steps and we have half steps. That is what the major scale does. The major scale denotes what notes you play in a scale. What do I mean by that? If we follow the major scale pattern, it has a specific rule, and that rule is whole step, half step. There's a half step between 3 and 4, whole step, and a half step between 7 and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So, and that's why C works out perfectly for the major scale. Very easy to understand this. Very, very easy. So, like I said, the major scale tells us what we're playing and why we are playing it. So if we're playing a scale that has all these white keys in it, but the scale has in it that B flat, what scale is that? Well, the major scale will tell us what scale this is. The scale with a B flat is the key of F. So let's get rid of our blue. So if we do the key of F, and we'll start down here because it's closer to me, and we follow our rules of the major scale. Whole step, half step, B flat, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So the key of F has one flat, and that is the B flat. Why do we have a B flat? Because the major scale tells us in the key of F, we must have a B flat in that key. Because we followed the same exact rule that we followed in the key of C, which gave us no black keys. That same rule in the key of F, starting at F, gives us one black key, and that is a B flat. If we do this in the key of G, let's pull these down, and we follow our same major scale rule. G, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step between 3 and 4. We know we got 3 whole steps coming up. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step between 7 and 8. Bing! The major scale tells us if we start on G, we have one sharp, and that is F sharp, because of where the half steps land, the whole steps and the half steps land in the major scale. That doesn't change. You can't take a major scale and say, well, I'm going to play the scale of G and I'm just going to do it this way. It doesn't work. A, it's going to sound terrible. And B, you can break the rules of music. Eddie Van Halen was the man of that. He broke every single rule of music. But the rule you cannot break is the pattern of the major scale, because then it's no longer a major scale if you don't play the pattern. So, unbreakable rule. Make a note, remember it, take it to school with you, write it in your books, study it at work. Major scale. Can't break that rule. So, in the key of G, we have an F sharp in the key of G. So, why do we have an F sharp? The major scale tells us we have an F sharp in the key of G. All right, so let's pick a different one here. Anyone? 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 Didn't think so. So let's do the key of A. Let's move all these down. And we follow our rule. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So if we start on A and we follow the rule of the major scale, it's going to tell us we have 3 sharps in this. We have a C sharp, an F sharp, and a G sharp in the key of A. And that is why the major scale is such an amazing thing, because it tells us what we're playing in that major scale and why we're playing it. Why are we playing a C sharp? Because in the key of A, the 3rd degree on the major scale denotes that it must be a C sharp. So now we know why we're playing it, and that's what theory does. It tells you why you're playing what you're playing. You just can't play, like I said, arbitrarily. You just can't just start banging around on notes. You have to know why you're doing it in order to become a musician. Why am I playing this particular note right here, right now? That's what theory does, and that's why you must learn theory in order to grow as a musician. All right, so moving on. So now you understand the major... Oh, I'm going to throw up a curveball to you. I'm going to throw up a curveball. I love doing this. I used to do this when I taught music. I used to do this to my kids when I taught music. So, extra credit. So we have a B. We'll use a blue chip. If we want to play a B flat, we play the black key. We have an A, and we want to play an A flat. We play the black key. G, G flat, black key. F, no black key. So we move down to E. E to E flat. D, D to D flat. C, no black key, so there's no C flat. It moves down to B. But because of the brilliance of the major scale, we're getting ready to get into some Beethoven shit here, guys. Because of the brilliance of the major scale. What happens if we play this. The scale starting here. This is a G, G flat. The scale starts on G flat. If we follow the major scale, we follow the rule of the major scale, whole step, half step. Whole step, half step. Pretty simple. Here is the conundrum, my friends. Because this is the flat scale, as you can see, we do not have a C in it. But whole step, half step. We got a B and a B flat. We can't have a B and a B flat. You just can't have that in a scale. You can't have an A and an A sharp. You can't have a G and a G flat. You can have one or the other. So, in the key of G flat, following the major scale, you have all your black keys working and doing their thing. But this B is actually C flat. In the key of G flat, you actually have a C flat, which is the B note. And that is denoted in the scale as a C flat. When I first started playing piano and doing theory, that stumped the shit out of me for the longest time. I physically could not wrap my brain around, well, there's no black key. It cannot have a flat if there's no black key. I was wrong. And when I really started to understand it is when we started playing Beethoven, getting into Beethoven stuff. That's when I really started to understand it, because his writing was just off the charts brilliant. And I've said this before, if you've not listened to the Beethoven piano sonatas, do yourself a favor. Get them, buy them, download them. I do not care. They will change your life. Absolutely brilliant pieces of music. And because of that, that's why I dig shit like this with the C flat in it. I just like this. This is just seriously cool to me. So the key of G flat. So that is my stumper for this particular video. So now you know you can have a C flat. Moving on. So let's go back to the key of C major. All white keys. 2 keys to the left, C. 2 keys to the left, C, 1 octave apart. Degree 1, degree 8, 1 octave. So now here is another cool thing about the major scale. The major scale has a relative minor scale. The relative minor of every single major scale, and there again, this rule cannot be broken. The relative minor of every major scale is the 6th degree of the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That makes us an A. So the key of A, the 6th degree, starts our minor scale. So if I wanted to start it here, I could just start at A, stack all my notes on top of it. Just put a blue up there, because we're back at A. And if you notice, the notes are exactly the same. Just because you're changing from a major scale to a minor scale, if it is the relative of the other scale, the relative major to the minor or the relative minor to the major, the notes do not change. The notes are exactly the same. Case in point, let's ditch our blues, let's bring our blacks back in, and let's go back to my favorite scale and one of the hardest ones to play on a piano, the G flat. Bada bing, bada boom, our friend, the C flat. So we are back in our G flat major scale. So if we wanted to find the relative minor, what do? We count up to the 6th degree of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we are at the 6th degree. So this starts our minor. So if we wanted to just finish this off, starting on that minor, that is our minor. E flat minor scale. which is the C, same thing as the G flat major scale. And if you notice, the only thing that changes is our starting point. That's it. Before we continue on, please subscribe to the channel. Subscribe, hit the little bell. Got all kinds of great things coming up. This is my ad break, by the way, in the middle of my video. Check out my Patreon page. You can join for as little as $3 a month, and that helps me keep all this great stuff going, because this theory class is going to go on for a while. Theory is not something you teach in 2 or 3 or 4 lessons. This could easily go on for 20 lessons, very easily, by the time we start getting into deeper topics. And some of those lessons may be broken down into 2 parts. Also, to make sure we get things moving correctly, if you have not seen it already, I have set a big goal for this year. I want to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And if I do, I am going to give one of my subscribers, I'm going to give them my beautiful, my amazing, my stunning Ibanez 1070 PBZ. As you can see, this guitar is absolutely flawless. And yes, I have played the living hell out of it, but I take very good care of my guitars. This thing literally looks brand new. Can't even see any scratches on that. Look at that. Dude, hang on, let me get it in the lights. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. This is a beautiful guitar. And one of my favorite guitars. And yes, I'm willing to part with it to get this thing rolling in the direction I need it to go. So if I get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I am going to give somebody this beautiful guitar. If you join my Patreon, you will also get another entry into it. So you can get 2 entries, one for subscribing to the channel and one for joining my Patreon. Like I said, my Patreon, you can join for as little as $3 a month. That's barely a candy bar anymore. And what you get for your $3 is all kinds of great stuff, as you will see coming up. Because as I do this, all this information, I will start breaking all this into tabs after the lessons, and this will all be going up onto my Patreon, everything that I'm doing. So that's another good reason to join. And as if you watched the other video where I first talked about giving the guitar away, I played a sample of a song I put together. It's a backing track. Those will go for my Patreon, except for this one's going to be downloadable for everybody. Because what we're going to do is we're going to write solos to it. And hopefully you guys are going to write your solos, record them, and send them to me, because that would be absolutely freaking awesome if you did that. And also coming up this summer, we're going to have call-ins. We're going to pick a day. We'll pick like Wednesday nights. On Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, one of my subscribers will call in, and we will talk about whatever topic they want to talk about. And I've already got one lined up. One of my subscribers, we were chit-chatting, and he started blowing me away with some stuff about Jimmy Page and Aleister Crowley. And I thought, dude, that's a fantastic topic, because he knows, because they know a bunch of shit that I do not know about it. And so it's a good way to share information out for everybody, because I don't know everything. But between all of us, we do know everything. And something that I don't know, I guarantee you somebody out there knows, and they will tell me about it, and we will share it to the world. So that is coming up also. So do not forget, subscribe to the channel, join my Patreon page, win yourself a beautiful Ibanez guitar. This thing is freaking awesome. Personally set up by Trace Taylor. And it's down a half step. So you're ready to rock, bro. Moving on with our theory lesson. Ad break. Moving on with our theory lesson. So here we are. We're in a relative minor of G flat major. So, as you notice, the notes do not change. The only thing that changes is the note that we start on. If we start this here in G flat and we play across, it sounds very happy, very uplifting, even with all these flat notes. If we start here on E flat and play across, it's going to sound very sad. It's going to sound very bluesy. Has more of a jazzy, a slow, a bluesy, sadder tonality to it. And the only thing that's changing is the note you're starting on. You're changing your tonal center. So if we do this in major, our total center would be G flat. If we do this in minor, the same exact scale, the relative minor of G flat major, E flat minor. We start on the 6th degree. Now it sounds very sad. The notes are exactly the same. It's the order that the notes fall in that gives it that sad sound or that happy sound. So now you understand major and minor scales. And There's no reason to sit here and go over all the scales. If you follow the rules, they all work exactly the same all the time. It never changes. These are rules that you cannot break. If you're playing this and you're like, you know what, I just want to do this and I don't want to play that. Well, guess what? You just broke the rule. The scale no longer works. Now you're playing garbage. So, and we don't want to play garbage. We want to play great music. So, excuse me. Now there are variations of scales. There are times you can add things in and they're called accidentals. But the rules of the scales do not change. Let me give you a quick example of what I'm talking about. Let's go to C. We are back in the C major scale. Let's get all that nice and pretty. Oh, that one got out of the way. We're back in the C major scale. So let's say we're playing a song in C, but we want to do this really quick. Run. Elton John was fantastic for doing this. And what he would do, let's say we're going to go to F. But what he's going to do is he's going to add in some accidentals with that left hand bass notes, and he's just going to bang his way up to that F. And it works very well, and it sounds very good. So what he's going to do is he's going to throw in these two accidentals. So when he's playing, he's going to go. And the accidentals are denoted in the actual sheet music. The scale, even though you will see in there, in this case, you will see a C sharp and a D sharp in this case. But the scale is still the scale of C. These accidentals were added in for that run. And when you're looking at the sheet music itself, where this note pops in beside it, you will see a little sharp. And when this note pops in beside it, you will see a little sharp also. To let you know, these are accidentals. These were put into this piece of music for this little run. But the scale itself is still C. So, the rules were not broken, but there are variations. And that pretty much wraps up major and minor scales. There's not a whole lot else to say about it. It's pretty easy to understand once you wrap your brain around it. All you have to remember is whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Then when you go to the minor scale, I'm going to pull these around to go to A. I could have gone the other way and started at this A. The notes would have been the same. So if you know that, the major scale and the steps of the major scale, when you go to the 6th degree, that gives you your minor scale. So you start at your minor scale, and now your count is whole step, half step, half step, half step, whole step, whole step. So the major scale, go to the 6th, start counting from there, and that gives you your minor scale. Very easy to understand, and we're doing a great job. We're doing a great job. So, the last thing we're going to talk about before I wrap this video up, because I do not want these to go too long because there's a lot of stuff coming up. So let's say we do the F major scale on a piano. Bada bing, bada boom. Of course, the major scale tells us we have a B flat in this scale. Now this is the beauty of guitar. So if we do an F major scale, when we have this scale, and you remember the G flat scale that we did, okay, if you're doing piano rolls straight down every single note, these blacks, introducing and taking out the blacks of the scale actually changes the way you finger a piano. You can't play it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 all the way down because these notes are going to get in your way. So you got to change some of the fingering around to do a straight down piano roll through the entire scale. This is what's beautiful about guitar. We're going to do the F, and tell you what, I'm going to move all this up because we're working on this side of the guitar. Make it easier to understand. So we're moving everything up. All right, F major scale, B flat. So we're going to do the same thing on a guitar. So we're going to go to F right here. That is the 6th string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our major scale in F on a guitar, on the E string is 1, 3, 5. Why is it 1, 3, 5? Whole step, whole step. Whole step, whole step. Our next step is a half step. And it just so happens to work out on the guitar, it's back at the first fret. 1, 3, 5. So, pretty easy. 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Now, we're going to continue on whole step, half step. This, what you're looking at here, is the same exact thing as this on a piano. Starting here, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. F to F. So, let's take this a step further. If we're playing in the key of F, our third is an A. Our fifth is going to be a C. Now, I know I don't know if I've said it already or not. When we start getting into the theory of this, the roots, when we start breaking things down, doing chord structure in the next lesson, the roots will always be black pegs. The thirds will always be red pegs. And the fifths will always be blue pegs. But for this example, I'm mixing it up a little bit. So we have our third and our fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So in our guitar, 1, 2, 3. Here's a third. 4, 5. There's a fifth. So as you can see here, we're playing the same exact thing. Let's take this off. Let's throw these blacks up here. So now it kind of gives you an idea of where the notes are on a guitar, because we know what they're on a piano. It's crazy easy to understand a piano. F. What comes after F? G. What comes after G? Starts back at A. B, C, D, E, F, G, on and on and on. The only thing that changes is when we introduce sharps and flats. Well, on a guitar, this is the same exact thing. F, F, G, G. A, our third, A, a third. Our B flat, first fret, fifth string. Our E, which is a fifth. D, our sixth. Make sure these are straightened up. E, a 7, and we're back at F. And these are the same things. So if I took this on a guitar and I completely ran this all the way down, this is why a guitar is a beautiful instrument. Let's throw these up here. So if we were playing the F major scale across all 6 strings, which is typically how you'll play scales on guitars, typically. Like I said, there are variations to every rule, but the rule itself does not change. If we ran it through all 6 strings, this is what the F major scale would look like. For some reason, I have this arbitrary orange magnet on here. I have no idea why. So we're just going to tuck this little dude back here in the corner again. Just let him sit here. So make sure everything's still recording. It is. Can't see everything from where I'm at here. All I can see is my camera itself. So if we run this, the full length of the guitar, top to bottom, from the 6th string to the 1st string, this is what this looks like. Here's the beauty of guitar. Now you see our B flat right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our B flat. That's one of our B flats. We have several B flats in here, believe it or not, because it starts repeating from right here. This starts back over from right here. So if we start here and we move, we're going to cross all this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is this F. And then it starts all over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we go again. And now from here, of course, we're not running another full 8 notes, but we're just, example, all the strings. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it ends on the 4th degree of the scale. So moving on. Man, I hope I counted that right. There's a lot of colors going on here. A lot of colors happening. Moving on. The beauty of the major scale on a guitar. And like I said, if we move this around and I start bringing in all these sharps and flats, it changes the way we have to finger. If we were to play a piano roll or whatever it is, it will change the way we have to finger certain things on a piano. On a guitar, it does not change. If we take this key of F and we move this to the key of G major, all we have to do is move everything up one full step. Same exact pattern. And now we're playing the key of G major, which happens to be bada bing, bada boom. Oh. Get up there. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, as you've noticed, the rolls are the same. But on the piano, our fingering has just changed because we moved from this flat to this sharp. So it's changed our fingering. On the piano, you fret it the same exact way. It does not change. That is the beauty of a guitar. There's certain things on a guitar that are just easy to understand. What makes it hard to understand on a guitar, you see what these notes are. Do you know what all these notes are? I guarantee you don't. I guarantee you do not know what all these notes are. Now, if you've been playing guitar for 42 years and you've studied theory your whole life, chances are, but you gotta remember, we're back at the beginner class, so you've jumped ahead. So chances are you do not know what these notes are. That's where the guitar is hard to understand. So here's another cool thing about playing music, and then we're going to wrap this dude up. When I was studying with my first guitar piano teacher, she was playing this Beethoven piece, and I was just like, my God, how are you playing this? You know, I mean, there's a bazillion notes. How do you understand what all the notes are? She's like, well, I don't. I'm not reading the notes. I'm reading the intervals. And that's when it clicked to me right there. I did a video that amazingly, apparently, nobody in this world has watched. Finding any chord on a guitar, and you find it through intervals. And shockingly, nobody's watched this video. And this is the most brilliant video in the world because it will show you how to find any chord, any note, anything on a guitar through intervals. Intervals are an integral part of playing an instrument. What is an interval? Well, an interval from here to here is an interval. From here to here is an interval. From here to here is an interval. If you're looking at a sheet of music and you're looking at the notes and they're stacked on top of each other, all you have to know is what that first note is. The one on the bottom. That's all you got to know. And then you read the intervals of all the notes above it, and that tells you what to play. The intervals of the major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are the intervals. It is imperative you understand this. And for that reason, you should go back and watch my video on intervals, which nobody's watched. And that's just mind-boggling to me. And something else that's mind-boggling to me, not to get off track, but this guy did this. I can't remember what the song was. It was a 3-part video, and it was a great song. I watched all 3 parts of it. And the first video, I may have mentioned this before in a video a little while back. The first video has, I don't know, we're going to say 25,000 views. The second video, which is the second part of the song, has 8,000 views. The third video, which is the solo part of the song, has 2,000 views. So all these people started, but only 2,000 of them finished out of 25,000. That is sad. That's so sad. See it through to the end, because the more, it's just another tool in your toolbox. I'm doing this masterclass, and guess what? You don't have to pay for this one. You just got to subscribe to the damn channel, hopefully. I'm not trying to sell you a $50 course that I'm going to send to you in the mail or you can download or whatever it is. I'm going to do it all for free. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about theory. Relatively speaking, because there's things that we're not going to get into. We're not going to sit down and start playing Beethoven. It's just not going to happen. Not in the scope of this class anyway. But it doesn't cost you a dime. So why people would watch videos 1, 2, 3, and 4, but not watch videos 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is just beyond me, because you're getting half the information. You know, that's like going to take martial arts. You get your first 2 belts and you quit. Why don't you just see it through to your black and be done? So, on that note, we're going to wrap this dude up right here. This is a brief explanation of major and minor scales, how they work, how to find them, what the relatives of each other are, and how to find the relatives. I hope you had fun with this video. Theory can be some seriously boring shit. I'm trying to make this as much fun as I can, because I love theory. But learning theory, let's be honest, it can be crazy boring. So I'm trying to make this as much fun as I can possibly make this for everybody. Because I want you to not only watch the videos, but I also want you to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. What you're playing and why you're playing what you're playing. That, my friend, is theory. Like the great Sammy Hagar said, if you miss the beat, you lose the rhythm and nothing falls into place. Whatever instrument you play, practice, 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 practice. Play with a metronome. And now, study your theory, because you have no excuse not to, because that's what we're doing. And as the great Billy Joel said, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes, and I'm afraid it is time for goodbye again. So until the next video, rock on.